Welcome to another episode of Minnesota Winter. For the 7th video of Minnesota Winter, I decided I would buy 7 $5 Sapphire 7s scratch-off tickets. So, one thing I like about this Sapphire 7s game is the smallest amount one can win is $7, as opposed to $5, as is usually the case with a $5 ticket. So this is a pretty straightforward game. It just says reveal 3 identical symbols in the same game, win prize shown for that game. Reveal a 7 symbol in a game, win 7 times the prize shown for that game. Each game plays separately. And then there is a bonus, and for that it says reveal a star symbol, win $77 instantly. So I bought these 7 tickets. The first ticket is number 58. These are 7 consecutive tickets, so it starts at 58 and goes to 64. Without further ado, let me begin scratching. Game 1. Horseshoe, Ladybug, Horseshoe. Game 2. Spade, Piggy Bank, Spade. Game 3. Diamond, Diamond, Clover. Game 4. Spade, Spade, Diamond. Game 5. Candle, Lamp, Candle. Game 6. Clover, Money Roll, Dice. Game 7. Lemon, Bag, Pot of Gold. Game 8. Spade, Ladybug, Ladybug. Game 9. Clover, Clover, Spade. Game 10. Lamp, Heart, Lamp. Alright, so, Game 11. Cherry, Ladybug, Apple. Game 12. Diamond, Lamp, Diamond. Game 13. Candle, Coin, Key. Game 14. Heart, Heart, Key. Game 15. Bell, Spade, Gold Bar. Game 16. Bracelet, Lemon, Lemon. Game 17. Cherry, Cherry, Piggy Bank. Game 18. Bell, Bolt, Bolt. Game 19. Lamp, Bracelet, Diamond. Game 20. Key, Lamp, Key. So those didn't win. Let me try the bonus. Reveal a star symbol, win $77 instantly. And it's a wallet. So that didn't win. Alright. Next ticket. Ticket number 59. Game 1. Remember, we're looking for 3 of the same symbol or a 7 symbol that wins 7 times the prize. So game 1, Ladybug, Ladybug, Ladybug. Okay, this one won. So the minimum it can win is $7. Let's see what this won. $10. Let's go to game 2. Diamond, Dice, Strawberry. Game 3. Crown, Crown, Dice. Game 4. Piggy Bank, Lamp, Lamp. Game 5. Heart, Heart, Cherry. Game 6. Crown, Shoe, Shoe. Game 7. Heart, Gold bar, heart. Game 8. Money roll, key, money roll. Game 9. Lamp, banana, lamp. Game 10. Diamond, lemon, diamond. Game 11. Strawberry, shoe, shoe. Game 12. Pot of gold, lamp. Game 13. Diamond, clover, clover. Game 14. Coin, dice, coin. Game 15. Ladybug, money roll, money roll. Game 16. Heart, pot of gold, heart. Game 17. Crown, clover, bolt. Game 18. Key, heart, heart. Game 19. Lemon, candle, candle. Game 20. Bag, pot of gold, and bag. Let's do the bonus. Looking for that star to win $77. And it's a vault. Alright. Next ticket. Ticket number 60. So last ticket won $10. Alright. Ticket number 60. Game 1. Bell, sun, bell. Game 2. Lamp, cherry, lamp. Game 3. Key, lemon, lemon. Game 4. Lemon, coin, lemon. Game 5. Strawberry, lamp, strawberry. Game 6. Coin, bracelet, piggy bank. Game 7. Dice, candle, candle. Game 8. Diamond, diamond, bolt. Game 9. Bracelet, candle, bracelet. Game 10. Strawberry, lamp, clover. Game 11. Apple, strawberry, apple. Game 12. Strawberry, strawberry, bracelet. Game 13. Crown, lemon, banana. Game 14. Gold bar, coin, gold bar. Game 15. Spade, spade, money roll. Game 16. Heart, strawberry, strawberry. Game 17. Sun, dice, gold bar. Game 18. Candle, diamond, candle. Game 19. Piggy bank, coin. Game 20. Shoe, bell, money roll. Scratch the bonus, looking for that star, and it's a wallet. Alright. So I'm going to see how I'm doing for time. Alright. Next card, ticket number 61, game 1. Coin, bag, dice, game 2. Ladybug, crown, bell. Game 3, crown, diamond, sun. Game 4, shoe, coin, pot of gold. Game 5, heart, spade, cherry. Game 6, crown, crown, strawberry. Game 7, key, key, heart. Game 8, banana, gold bar, piggy bank. Game 9, lamp, dice, clover. Game 10, bag, bracelet, banana. Game 11, money roll, gold bar, strawberry. Game 12, pot of gold, candle, bolt. Game 13, candle, lamp, lemon. Game 14, candle, money roll, money roll. Game 15, banana, banana, pot of gold. Game 16, cherry, cherry, crown. Game 17, apple, ladybug, key. Game 18, banana, coin, coin. Game 19, heart, money roll, shoe. Game 20, piggy bank, bell, lemon. Scratch the bonus. And it is a wishbone. On to the next card. This is card, let me just get this aligned. This is card 62. Game 1, coin, dice, spade. Game 2, key, clover, bag. Game 3, candle, lemon, strawberry. Game 4, lamp, bag, lamp. Game 5, banana, banana, apple. Game 6, money roll, ladybug. Game 7, bolt, coin, bolt. Game 8, dice, dice, key. Game 9, lamp, lamp, piggy bank. Game 10, bolt, money roll, apple. Game 11, coin, coin, sun. Game 12, pot of gold, clover. Game 13, ladybug, diamond, heart. Game 14, cherry, crown, sun. Game 15, pot of gold, bracelet, lamp. Game 16, pot of gold, heart, pot of gold. Game 17, cherry, bracelet, cherry. Game 18, shoe, heart, shoe. Game 19, bag, gold bar, piggy bank. Game 20, bell, banana, shoe. Scratch the bonus, and it is a chest. So there are 2 left. Go to the penultimate card. This is ticket number 63. Just make sure everything's aligned. Alright, ticket number 63. It'd be nice to get one more winner at least. Game 1. Cherry, Clover, Bag. Game 2. Lamp, Lemon, Lamp. Game 3. Banana, Bracelet, Spade. Game 4. Heart, Cherry, Cherry. Game 5. Coin, Heart, Apple. Game 6. Strawberry, Lamp, Pot of Gold. Game 7. Bolt, Candle, Diamond. Game 8. Key, Apple, Apple. Game 9. Piggy bank, Spade, Crown. Game 10. Sun, Money roll, Diamond. Game 11. Ladybug, Heart, Sun. Game 12. Bag, Bag, Shoe. Game 13. Lemon, Dice, Coin. Game 14. Apple, Apple, Candle. Game 15. Apple, Apple, Shoe. Game 16. Bell, Lamp, Key. Game 17. Shoe, Banana, Bracelet. Game 18. Strawberry, Pot of Gold, Cherry. Game 19. Gold bar, Apple. Game 20. Apple, Money roll, Gold bar. Do the bonus, and it is a vault. Last ticket, ticket number 64. Game 1. Bolt, Sun, Sun. Game 2. Ladybug, Dice, Dice. Game 3. Shoe, Sun, Heart. Game 4. Diamond, Clover, Ladybug. Game 5. Heart, Key, Key. Game 6. Strawberry, Banana, Spade. Game 7. Apple, Crown, Apple. Game 8. Pot of Gold, Apple, Coin. Game 9. Gold bar, Banana. Game 10. Bell, Spade, Bell. Game 11. Banana, Gold bar. Game 12. Bell, Gold bar, Dice. Game 13. Ladybug, Bolt, Ladybug. Game 14. Crown, Key, Money roll. Game 15. Bell, Candle. Game 16. Cherry, Diamond, Cherry. Game 17. Key, Coin, Key. Game 18. Bracelet, Bag, Lemon. Game 19. Bracelet, Bolt, Cherry. Game 20. Lamp, handle piggy bank. Do the bonus. And it is a chest. So I won $10 total, spent $35. So I returned almost, let's see, 10 over 30. How do I do the math here? Well, I returned $10, paid $35. Not a bad return, a little over 30%. So can't really complain. At least I got that $10. And thanks for watching Minnesota Winner. If there's any games you like, just like the video. Feel free to comment as well. Let me know what you want to see. And subscribe. Currently we have 0 subscribers, but that is bound to change. Thanks again for watching Minnesota Winner.